recommend using a couple different colors to do these with. So if you need, I don't think I'd use crayons, but if you would like a colored pencil or one of my markers, I would grab, here, I will put this out. Like these I think would be fine things to write with. I wouldn't go crayons with this one because we're not shading. So if you would like to grab a couple colors, go ahead and do that. Alright. The more that I'm looking at these, the more I think I might change a couple of them. Okay. I don't think I'm in quite the place that I was when I wrote this. It's like when you go to the grocery store and like the healthy version of you goes to the grocery store and you're like, you get all the vegetables and then you get home and you're like, oh, this is what I got. I overcommitted. I took 9.
I might be a goat at this, bro.
Okay, I like that. Alright, now, I'm going to start with the top graph. So we're going to graph 2 different things. Do you see how this one is just a number? It's just 3. Okay. When you are graphing something that is just 3, what that means is that your y value is always going to be 3. Every moment, it will be 3. It doesn't matter what your x value is, it tells you that your y value will always be 3. Because remember, f of x is a fancy way of saying y equals. So this says y equals 3. So if y equals 3, guess what? Y is 3. All day long. Now, this is going to tell me where to graph. So we're going to still be graphing like we did in the warm-up, but we're going to be very specific about it, and we're going to say, hey, graph, but I only want you to graph in this little spot on the graph. So we're going to be super picky. Do you see how it says graph for x value smaller than 1? So what that means is I'm going to start at 1, and then I'm going to pick values that are smaller than 1. So what's a number smaller than 1? 0. What's another number smaller than 1? Negative 1. Now, could I have picked other numbers? Could I have picked negative 10? Is that smaller than 1? Okay. So I have so many options of what I could have picked.
Wait, so if you
Yes.
Are we allowed to pick 1 though? Because
we are. We always want to start.
Okay.
Yes. We always want to start with whatever number they give us.
Okay.
We always want to start with that. Okay? Now, I'm going to graph these points. Before you graph them, there's one other little trick that I need to tell you about. And this is kind of what Miss Littleton was saying. Do you see how it says smaller than 1? So can it be equal to 1? No. So when you have a situation like this, when you go to graph, you're going to graph an open circle. I'll show you what it looks like and I'll explain it more in a second. So I'm going to graph the point 1, 3. So 1, 3 would be here. Just point at it with me. Don't do anything else. Just point at it with your utensil. Right? This is my point. Instead of making an actual dot, do you see how I made an open circle? I made like a Cheerio. Okay, make that. So what that tells you is that nothing lives here. It's open. Nothing lives there. But everything else beyond it is fair game. So let's graph another point. So the rest of them, the first one is open, the rest of them are going to be closed.
How do you know if it's open or closed?
So there will only be one open point per graph.
What will be the first one?
It will always be the first one when you don't have an equal. So sometimes
when
they
you don't have an equal
switch. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like, remember we were graphing solid versus dotted lines?
Yeah.
Similar to that. So there should be only one open circle per graph. So if you have more than one open circle, something has gone wrong. Okay? Let's graph the next point. 0, 3. So go over 0, go up 3. Go over negative 1, go up 3. Do you see the pattern that's happening?
Yes.
If I keep picking smaller numbers, wouldn't I keep getting more and more points this way?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I'm going to take my straight edge, or if you don't want to use a straight edge, you don't have to. and I'm gonna graph. Now, when I graph, normally, oh whoa, pretend that looks better, that looks horrific. Okay, normally when we graph, we go both ways, right? We go, this is only gonna go one direction because we are only looking at values smaller than 1. We don't care about the values bigger than 1 at the moment. Only the, some of you know this. Alright, that makes my life feel easier. I love that. Okay, let's try graphing the other part. Are you ready?
Now, if it was,
Yeah.
if the gator was the other way,
Yeah.
it would go the other way, anything that's less than
Correct.
1? Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like kind of like if it was like true or false, or true or false, how we did on the last one, kind of like with the shading.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that.
Yep, agreed. Okay. Next one. This one wants me to start at 1 as well. But do you see how it wants me to get bigger?
Yes.
So somebody pick a number bigger than 1. 2. And then I'm gonna also pick 3. Go ahead, Jemima.
If like there's a line under the gator make a difference.
Yeah. The line under the gator tells me if it is an open circle or a closed circle.
Okay, so if it's not an open circle, so it would all just be dotted lines.
If it's so, no.
Or
If
dotted
it's
line, I didn't mean to say dotted lines. I just meant to say dot.
if it's greater than or less than, that's gonna give you an open circle. Just for that 1 point. Again, you should only have 1 open circle per graph.
Yep.
1 open circle per graph. And again, these are all little notes that you can kind of write yourself. Remember again that you get to use these notes on the quiz, and so write yourself stuff that's going to help you. So these equate to an open circle, only 1 open circle per graph. If you had the other type of gator, as you called it, the other type of gator mouse, this is going to be a closed circle or a dot.
Okay.
Okay. So let's try graphing another one. This time we're going to plug these numbers in, but we're going to plug them into the green one. So do you see why it's helpful to kind of use different colors to see which is going where? Okay, let's plug these in. If I plug in 1, I always start with this number, no matter what.
Yep.
If I plug in 1, 2 times 1. 2. 2 times 2. 2 times 3. 6. So I'm taking these numbers. Hold on.
I think I might have skipped this step.
That's okay.
You didn't skip a step. I think the question is going to be, how come we don't have, like the first one and the Y's, we had 3, 3, 3.
Okay.
How come now
Yeah.
we have different numbers?
Yeah. Like how come we're not? I feel like we just wrote down 1, 2, and 3. I don't remember.
He doesn't know where the X values came from.
Yep.
Is that the one
Because
where we choose?
we started on the other side.
Yeah,
When we
okay,
started
yes.
when we started the top
It
line.
was very different. Because
Yeah.
we picked
Yeah.
these and then we picked these.
Yeah.
So now you started.
So this one is telling me to pick X values bigger than or equal to 1. So I picked 1 because I have to start with 1. And then I thought of numbers bigger than 1. So I was like, okay, let me pick 2 and 3 because those are easy numbers to use.
Oh.
So
Okay.
these are the numbers that I picked, and then I plugged them in. So 2 times 1, 2.
My
2 times 2, 4. 2 times 3, 6.
my next question is why didn't you write 2, 2, and 2?
So if there had been no X,
Okay,
and there
that's what I
had,
was thinking.
then I would write 2, 2, and 2. But because there's a spot for me to plug in the 1 and the 2 and the 3.
Oh.
Do you see how
so you
there's-
plugged them in like how we did in the last? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Do you see how there's no spot for me to plug in here?
Yeah.
So if I tried to plug in 1, nothing,
yeah.
it'd just be 3.
Okay.
That's why. Good. I love how you're asking the questions. That almost worked out like perfectly. Yeah. Okay. Now, all of these circles are going to be closed because remember I already have my 1 and only open circle. I've got a point at over 1 up 2. I have a point at over 2 up 4. I have a point at over 3 up 6. see how it's gonna continue this way?
Yes.
Even think about like the end behavior, like we were headed in a certain direction, that's what we're doing here. So I'm gonna connect the point, and I'm gonna start with this one and go up and over. So these graphs are kind of funny because you're not gonna extend the other way. So whatever the first point is your starting point, and then you go up in the direction from there. So if you think about geometry, the word that comes to mind is a ray, because rays have a starting point, and then they go off in a direction.
That was not my first thought when I thought of this.
But you know,
What is a ray?
a ray, I always think about a laser pointer whenever I think of a ray, because if you think about a laser pointer, if you click it on, right, it's got a starting point. It's starting from the laser pointer, and then it goes forever. So that's what these are gonna do. They're gonna have a starting point. So again, you can think of it like a laser pointer. This is where it starts, and then it goes off forever. Okay. I think my goal is just gonna be to make it through the notes today, is what I think. Okay.
I think I agree. All of it?
You like that? Okay. Here we go.
Just for things?
Yeah, no, not the whole packet. Alright, first of all, this is the spot where I said, I don't love what I picked. Let's cross out this negative x,
Alright.
and let's just put a 4 in there for me. It's not a negative x anymore. The Miss Bethel who made this worksheet is different than the Miss Bethel in front of you, and she would like, this one would like you to just put a 4. Okay. Here we go.
Alright, we lit.
We ready?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna do the first one in green since I already wrote in periwinkle for the other one. Okay, I'm gonna go right here. Look at what the x values are telling me. It says find me x values that are bigger than 0. Now I have to start at 0, right? Whatever this is my first number. Have to start there. 0, 1, and 2, perfect. And again, could you pick 10? Sure. Could you pick 5 and a half? But why are you going to do that to yourself? Just pick the easiest ones. So now we plug in, just like we did in the warm-up, just like you did in the last unit. 0 plus 3.
0. Oh wait,
3. 1 plus 3.
4.
4. 2 plus 3. 5. And again, you can use a calculator just like you did last time. Now,
This one's open.
yes, somebody said this one's open.
I said that.
This one's open because there's no equal to underneath. So this is my one open. So again, I like to write myself a note, and you'll discover this later in life. Miss Littleton and I probably do this more than you. We write ourselves notes to remember things. So whenever I find the one open point, I always write myself a note to remember, okay, this is my one open point. And then everything else should be closed. So I have an open point at over 0 up 3. So I'm at over 0 up 3, and it's my one open point.
Oh,
So make me a big open circle. Not big, but like make me an open donut, yes. I love it. Over 1, up 4 for the next point. Over 2, up 5. Do we have this? Does your graph match mine? Okay, so this time, again, if I use my laser pointer analogy, this time I'm starting here and I'm going whoop, this way.
Alright.
Okay?
Wait a minute, wait. If so just real quick, if we were to do the next one, would the arrow be going that way?
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Alright.
I just thought the shortcut.
The next one, do you see how it's going to be 4 all day long?
Yes.
Is there a spot where I can plug stuff in?
No.
No. Okay, so let's pick our numbers again. I'm going to start at 0, and then it wants me to pick smaller numbers. So what's the number smaller than 0? Negative 2. I'm also going to pick negative 1. And do you see how there's no spot to plug it in? Like I can't plug in a 0 or a 1. Like there's no x. So what do I write for all of these? 4.
And it's a closed circle.
And it's a closed circle because we already used up our one open circle.
Yep.
So there are no more open. Okay, so we have a graph at over 0 up 4. Then we have a point at -1, up 4. And -2, up 4. And we kind of see that pattern, right? Like we could keep going if we really wanted to. So again, think about it like a laser pointer. It starts at that one point and then it goes off in this direction. I often have sound effects when I graph. They help me.
This is
This is okay? Let's do one more graph. There's one more on the next page. And then we're not going to do any classwork today because there just isn't time. We'll just have a little bit of downtime at the end to let our brains settle. Okay. We'll do both for this one. Yeah. Okay. The top one, let's start there. What number do I need to start with for x? -2. It wants me to find smaller values. So what's a number smaller than -2? -3. And then I'll also pick -4. Do you see how these are all going to be closed? Because there is an equal to here, there isn't like an open. So these are all going to be closed. Nothing open here. Let's plug them in. -2 plus 1 is?
What?
If I plug in -2, -2 plus 1 is -1. -3 plus 1? -2. -4 plus 1, -3. Okay, these are all closed. Remember, we have no reason for an open with these. So I'm going to graph left 2, down 1. Left 3, down 2. Left 4, because again it's negative, down 3. And we could continue that pattern, right? To kind of see where we're headed. Okay, so again, like a laser pointer, this is where it starts, and then it goes off in one direction only. We don't go the other way. I know it's tempting to make it go also that direction, because that's what we're used to, but nope, not for these. They go one way only. Like I said, think of laser pointers. That's what like my mental image. Okay. We're going to do the other one. Ready? This is our last one for today. We have to start at -2. But then it says pick numbers bigger than -2. I can do that. What's bigger? 1. 1 is bigger than -2. What else? 4. Okay. Let's pick those. You can pick any number you want. It doesn't matter what you pick. Okay. Let's start with the -2 because we had to pick that one, right? So, if I plug in -2, -2 is really what? 2. If I plug in 1, -1 is -1, right? If I plug in 4, it becomes -4.
What if you got 0?
That'd be okay. We can graph 0.
Okay.
Yeah, we can graph 0. Zeros live on our axes. That's okay. So this is my one open circle at -2, 2. So I'm going to go over 2, up 2. Here's my one open circle. Then I've got a point at, we chose 1, -1. So 1, -1 would be here. And then we chose 4, so we chose 4, and that one was at -4. Again, you can pick other numbers. It doesn't matter. I would just stick to something that's going to like live on your graph. Again, you start at the open, and you go off in that direction. Okay, the sound effects help me. They just do. Yeah, that's it. Can I come look at your notes, though? So before you put stuff away, let me come look